Good day, my dear moths and my ladies and gents. It's been quite the day, quite the tiring day. Now, all of the video equipment, my new video equipment, I can't figure out how to use it. Lucas showed me last night, he set it up, but it's just not working. So I hope the colors come out very good on this video. They don't usually, but these are such beautiful, beautiful, old and worn and what would you call them? I don't know. They're so nice. If you remember the blankets that I had showed to the groups, there was the pink and the blue, and I think it was the green, and then a white. And I had dyed them all of these aged dark colors. Well, these are the blankets, and I continued to keep dyeing them a little bit different. I put them back in the dye pot, and then with every dye pot, it's a little bit different, but they all blend together so good. And that's what really makes these two kits so nice. Now, this is my version of my older D kit. It was made for Dee Bartrug. Dee and I are pretty much like sisters. She's a sister that I never had. The same as Cindy was the sister that I never had. We've known each other forever. I don't remember when we met, but it was definitely around the time when I first started. Dee came to Nova Scotia with Lori, and we did meet, and it was just wonderful. If you're watching, I want to show you something. A little kitty. It's another one. This is just a plain pin cushion that goes with the set. And then this, I really like that. And then I have my little needle holder. But that's not all that Dee has given me. I mean, she's given me many rugs and just so many things. We've been together so long. So for the last part of my kits, I wanted to do this one over. And of course, Dee is going to get this to go with the other one. But I don't like making the same thing twice, so that's why I made it different. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to have photographs for instructions, and I'm going to do it as screenshots and then go over every step of the way. But this one is just so darn simple. It's not like the other rugs when I do them. You know, you have to interlock. Well, this you don't. You don't have to interlock, and you can see that they're not interlocked. And they're different sizes. There are 3 different sizes. There's a large circle and then the small one. And then there's the same size circle and then a larger one so that it's just a little bit around the edge. And there is another size down. Now, it doesn't matter where you put them, doesn't matter anything. All the colors will go together. And there's quite a few colors, so I'm going to just say for the large ones, I'll put a little row in your bag of all one colors so that when you take it out, you can have your colors sorted. And then you just go ahead and put them wherever you want. The string, which I'm going to show you how to do, I used a wool for this, but 6 strands of embroidery floss, which is what I'm going to show you, is probably much better. I had this wool and I wanted to try it. It's leftovers from the kits that I made, the David Starr kits, and it's dyed, and I just wanted to try it. I don't really like it because it doesn't fray. It stays together, and you don't want that. You want it to open up and fray like the 6 strands of floss. So I would suggest 6 strands of floss. And then, of course, floss to stitch the pennies, and that's not included in the kit. So you need floss to do your knots, and then you need floss to do your pennies. Other than that, you don't need anything for this kit. Now, the first thing I will show you is when you receive your kit, I'll put that up this way. When you receive your kit, your base is going to be cut the perfect size, and it's rounded on the ends. I think the original D was that too. You're going to receive, oh darn, you're going to receive this as your binding. And now you need a 1/4 inch to sew your binding around. So what I do, I always measure my line. I find it so much easier than guessing a 1/4 inch because my mind it wanders while I'm stitching. So I got this from Temu. I am sort of getting quite addicted to Temu and buying a few things. I know I shouldn't. I know it's from China, but it's just interesting to do, and some of them are quite good. This moves everywhere, but when it's up tight, it's a 1/4 inch right here. So that's all I do is put it on and put this there and then just mark it 1/4 inch. So easy. And then I stitch on the line and no one sees it. It's just there for me to keep my stitching straight. So, and I have a white pencil if I do dark wool, but I did use the white pencil on the cushion with the dark wool. So then that's all you do. You take this out of your bag. You mark your 1/4 inch or you do not. And then you stitch. Hand stitch. You can use machine, but you know, hand stitching is the fun part, right? And then you ease it around your corners like that. Just a little bit. It's a nice soft round, so it will work. Do remember when you turn it, I always do little tiny little cuts in there. It just makes it easier turning corners. But this is the first thing you do. You put your binding on. You say you have stitched that. You fold it, turn it around a little bit down, and fold it again. Your binding is stitched before you ever start to put your pennies on. That's the difference. So the binding is stitched, and then you just take your pennies in whatever color, and you fill in. You fill in around your binding. There's your binding. Just put your pennies on however way you want them. These are, they do fit. but some places they're a little out. But just put your pennies on any way that you want them. But before you do that, see, this kit from what we normally do, we normally put our pennies on and then we have to keep them in a straight line and they're interlocking and all that. Well, just throw that out the window. You're not doing that at all with this one. So you have 6 strands of floss. Do not use, I wonder, do I have, yeah. Do not use a very long piece because it's just going to get in the way. Okay, so, okay. This is how you do this. Center, needle in. Okay, you leave some out. You bring your needle up, same place. Okay, 6 strands of floss on both sides. And I always do this just to make sure that my string is tight. Now, can you see how I do this? I have to look in the camera and do this, okay? I should have had a light penny. Okay, a granny knot, just the same as if you're tying your sneakers. 1, 2, 3, just granny knots. Okay, now you're going to cut your thread, and what you do is, I shouldn't have had a dark penny, you know. You basically cut your thread at the end of your penny. If it's this small penny, like that, just somewhere in here, you cut it. You don't cut it over that. It's just like, okay, let's cut it right with that penny. Right with that penny. Now, this is what it looks like, and I don't like that. Sometimes they do cut them a bit shorter, like they'll cut them in here, but then I don't like that either. I like the worn look. So this is how you do that. You take your 2 pieces and scrunch them up in between your thumb and your finger. And I wish I had longer nails for this. And you just grab it like that. See, I grabbed it. And then you turn it. You just keep turning it. And if it doesn't look right, you do it again. And water does help a bit. I should do my, where's my water? I'll just put a little water in my hand and I'll scrunch it up. Just keep turning it like this. There. Can you see that? It makes it look like it's old and worn and everything. So that's what I do. And that's what you do with the penny. After you get all of your pennies done, they don't have to be the same color. They can have different colors. I'll show you some in a minute. But then after you have that done, you have your binding on, you have the 2 pennies together, which is really good because, you know, if you want to stitch those inside pennies with holding it in your hand, no pins. Isn't that great? So, I mean, you can stitch those first penny to the second before you do that, before you put them on. But the last thing you do is put your pennies on, and you can use glue, you can use pins. This is very important. The one thing you can't do is use that interfacing or something, heat and bond or something. You can't put that on and put it on and iron. You cannot iron your mat after you've knotted it, because it's just going to flatten them down something terrible, and you don't want that. So either pins or glue or something like that. Now, there is a way that you could put your pennies on and knot them to the back if you wanted to. I mean, you could just have your penny on here and hold it in place, and then use your needle and put it in, and then bring it up if you wanted to. I chose not to do that. It's so simple this way, and then I glued them. So however you would like to do it, that's your choice. We all have different ways of doing things. Now, the base is a very old blanket, very thin, and it's brown. This is the binding that I have for them, and the colors that you see here. Now, you don't get the thread, just remember that. But everything else, and you really, I wouldn't suggest that you do a lining, because it just complicates it. Use your thread and have it somewhat to match this, and then, because the original rug was done that way. Now, I'm going to show you a couple things. This is, well, I'll get my mat. The reason I am doing these is because you know that I'm retiring, not doing kits anymore, and just doing the pattern club. And I'll tell you more about that as later, not with this video. But I wanted to, for my last kits, do the very first rugs that I ever designed and made when I was just learning. Now, the D kit wasn't. D is because D is so special. That's why I wanted to do another one for it. But this was, and many of you have seen this was my absolute very first rug I ever stitched, and I never finished it. It's that old wool. And I wanted to do, I looked in my books. Actually, Barbara Bond started me, because Country Home Folk Art Crafts, she had some beautiful penny rugs. I didn't know anything about penny rugs until that time. And then I studied them, and I looked at them. I learned more about them. And the first thing I did when I wanted to make one myself was go to my Country Home and Country Living magazines. This was on the front cover. So this is what I represented as my very first rug. It's not good. It's not the right colors. It's not. But it has the knots. That's why I wanted to do these knot rugs, because my very first rug, it was knotted. And look at the stitches, how they're coming out. And there's some that are, where is it? Some that are pulled. And you can do that with, just with your needle. You can pull your threads. That's what I used to do, because I wanted it just exactly like this. I wanted it with the threads pulled like that. And I wanted the stitches big and wide like that. So that was my first rug, and that's why I'm doing these knotted rugs. I have countdown is on. 3 more rugs. I will show you those. Heaven forbid that I would do a short video, right? Let's see, which was my other one. There. This was my second one. And I had knots again. Same thing. That was my second one. That's an old army blanket on there. So I'm doing this one perhaps in a little different way as number 3. And this one was after that, when I was still putting it on wool, still doing the same size pennies. Gosh, I can remember. I actually sold kits of this to someone in Maryland, I think it was, somewhere in the States. I would do some kits up for her. And so those two, and this is going to be my very last kit that I'm going to make. This one, I decided to learn how to do the tongues. And again, it's not the same size. I sort of went down a size. But look at how I pulled the threads. I was really into making it look old right away. Look at that, where the threads are pulled. This one. And I really like to do that. So it's very simple to do. I will show you on the cushion. So after that, let's hope that I have my first pattern club ready to go. But after I do these 3 kits, and I'd like to get them done as fast as possible. The reason I wanted to do those is because they're all wool. There's no cotton. So that means I use more blankets. So that's a good thing. Then if I have scraps, pennies, anything that's left that I'm not going to use, I'm going to start bundling it and let it go. So that is everything for this video about this. I will have them on tonight. I'm determined to do that. I'm taking tomorrow off, though. Not doing any wool tomorrow at all. Oh, my gosh. So that's this. And now I will do the second video for the cushion, which is my absolute favorite. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.